go on to the next stage of how do I go about sketching from here, I want to talk about the colours, because I've mentioned here there are some colours. I know that forest is not an ocean, not really colours, but these are sort of terms I'm using to try and describe the feel of the piece and the images that I have in my head when I'm writing them. This is particularly personal for me because I have what's known as synesthesia, which is basically where it's a sensory thing where I basically see colours in my mind's eye when I hear music. And that's been quite an interesting thing for me because I didn't realise that I had this until fairly recently. And it's not something that I'd really use much to kind of cultivate musical material or use in my pieces until I would say a couple of years ago when I wrote a piece for piano trio, which was done at the Dartington International Summer School. And it was a piece that was entirely based on the colour blue and multiple shades of the colour blue, but also how the colour blue can be seen as a sort of a poetic symbol, so the sky, the sea, but also technology and the blue screen of our computers and things like that. So I thought that that was quite an interesting way to go about it. So one of the first things that I thought about when thinking about the project's brief of people and their external influences, colour came to me very quickly, because for me it's both sort of a very personal thing in that basically nobody sees the same colours in the same way, and particularly this is true with synesthesia. A famous composer who had this was Messiaen, and he actually went as far as writing the colours that he saw in his mind's eye into the score, and he almost wanted the players to feel those colours how he did, but it's impossible to convey that really. It's more, and for me personally, I think it's just something I use in the back of my mind to help me just sort of, because I think different chords and different notes have different colours and it's completely involuntary. But when I thought about, you know, personal versus external, well, colours can be seen by people, they're seen in the world, but also the sort of meaning of them is quite personal for me. So that's why I colour coded them as I did. And the sort of I'm starting to get a vague sense with these two, I think, of the sort of the greater sort of image in my head is going to be to do with a forest or an ocean. The reason I put terracotta here is because I was thinking particularly of the colour of the earth in the Mediterranean. That really kind of earthy, amazing kind of reddish ground, particularly in Spain, was really sort of on my mind for various reasons. I don't know why. Sometimes these things come up and I thought, you know, actually it's right, and with that set of notes it just makes me think of that colour. So that's enough of that for now. I'm going to move on to talking about how I then go about making a piece out of all of these very disparate elements. So